Hello everyone, and welcome back to Ensemble Stars for a guide video that a few of you had asked for during the last scouting video that I did. And this is going to be a guide on the new tour event style. This is the third one we've had. The last two have run mostly the same, which makes me think they have figured out how they want it to work, and hopefully that doesn't change so this doesn't become outdated the next time they have one. But we're going to go through a few different things on basic and on music, and I will talk about how to get one 5-star, one of the two 5-stars, the easy way, as in going through the tour and not spending too much dia, and then I will also talk about how to get two 5-stars, so one from the tour itself and one from actually reaching the required point total. So I will put some probably in the description where the basic one starts. We're starting on basic, so that's going to start right away, and where the music one starts, and we'll go from there. We'll see how it goes. So on basic, tour events are, again, a little more basic than they are on music. Mostly because the way the game works, there really aren't that many missions you can fulfill. And I guess the first thing I should do is talk about what a tour event is. So a tour event has these little days that you go through, and you can see this one's unlocking, and you unlock them by completing a certain amount of lives. So to get to the end, which is day 30, you have to complete 300 lives, which seems like a lot, but you can get basically up to about 100 just by going through all the different ones and all the different levels that are there, so it's actually not that bad. And I will go through a couple of courses just to talk about the most efficient way to do that. So, as you can see, every one that you click on or that you tap on has two different things at the bottom. It's got a general goal, and the general goal just means that if you complete it, you can move on to the next day. And then it also has a specific goal that gets you 3 dia. So if we take a look at this one says that the general goal is to achieve a score of at least 25,000. So most of these, if you're just looking at passing the days, as long as you have a semi-decent team, it doesn't even have to be a really excellent team from the old version of the game, any good team will get you through until the end. So don't worry about your teams being too weak as long as you've been playing and have a few decently leveled up cards, even a few 4-stars I think will probably be able to get you there. The secondary goals, obviously the dia is nice, but you do not need to complete them to pass through the days. There isn't any sort of goal at the end where you have to have a certain number of them done to get the prizes. You just have to beat that first one. And there are some people on Twitter that are translating these goals. I won't go through all of them because they do change every time, but pretty consistently there are a few Twitters that are actually going through every single day. So if you search on Twitter something like, OnStar's tour event basic or music guide, it should pop up. So what I'll do is I'll go through a couple of these ones as I play through them, but I won't go through every single day. Generally on basic, the missions that they have are either going to be score missions or character missions. So there will be some that will be like, get a score that ends in an even number or get a score that ends in an odd number, and strange ones like that. And then we see this one, which basically just says, so the first one is, any members, 25,000. As you can see, my total right now is 405,000, so I should be able to clear that pretty easily. The second one says that you need Kaoru in your team, and you have to achieve a score of at least 100,000. So that one might be a little bit trickier if you are new to the game and don't have a lot of cards, and I'm gonna, hopefully, these cards are still sorted by their old classes, so okay, I'm just gonna throw this Kaoru on there. So alright, we're still at 433,000, so if we start, and it takes 10 AP, which isn't a whole lot. I won't actually go through that, we're just going to skip. Alright, so see that finishes at the end. They both have a little get. It tells you got the dia bonus, and we've cleared the stage, so we're on to the next day. So, fairly simple. So let's take a look at day 10. So day 10 is now unlocked. We can look at day 10. Day 10, we have, once again, any members, 25,000. The next one says you need to have 3 different members on your team and achieve a score of at least 75,000. Those 3 members are just Akatsuki. So even if you can't read Japanese, if you look at these names and go to the wiki, all the names should be on there. And if not, if there's a 3-person goal, it's probably Akatsuki. If there's a 4-person goal, it's probably Undead, at least for this one. So provided you have units with different numbers of members, that'll help out a little bit. So okay, so this is an Akatsuki goal. So what I've got to do is, I had Soma on there before, so we'll use my cat train Soma. And then as I go through this, I'll also talk about, sometimes you'll have a goal that will say something like end in an even number, or end in an odd number, or end in like a 2 or something like that. And the problem with those ones is that any cards from the new game have a chance to activate a score bonus during the Dream Live full score system thing that happens at the end. Any old cards, so any cards from the old game that have that little exclamation point in the corner, will not do that. So that's an easy way to actually be able to do it without the probability of something messing it up along the way. I got distracted and I said I wasn't going to. Where's 3A? Kato, there you are. Okay. And then I've got a Kuro somewhere in here, 3B, 3B. Probably at the bottom. Where are you? There you are. Okay. And you can also see we have some that have like the vocal performance dance. I don't have on attribute cards because right now my score isn't low enough to matter, but those will give you a score boost if you have, you know, a blue card in the vocal spot, etc., etc. So we'll go with that. Skip through it again. And there we go. Finished. Got both the goals. So that's how to clear the stages. In terms of what the stages will give you, so if we take a look at this, you can see that the 4-star is at day 20, and the 5-star is all the way at the end at day 30. And if we look at our point requirements, if you are only going for a single 5-star, one of the two, just pick the one that you want. So you can always, like if you look at this side here, this card switcher, you can actually switch between the cards as many times as you want until you clear the day. Obviously you can't switch after you've cleared it, but until then it doesn't matter. You can pick whichever one you want. So I have Ray there right now because I am planning on getting both of them, but Ray, at least in this game, is the higher point total card. So you can see he is at 1.25 million while Kato is at 1.1 million. So if you're planning on getting both of them, what I did last time was I played normally, like the way I would normally play an event, until I got to the 1.1 million, and then just did a whole bunch of the lower point lives until I got to the 300 lives. And I think in the end that saved me some dia. So I ended up getting both the 5-stars, probably between 150 and 200 dia. And if we take a look back to the home screen for a brief second before they start chattering at me, so you can see I have 177 dia. Before the event started, I had basically none, so you will get enough to complete the event just from playing the event. And if we take a look at the point bonuses, you can see, if it loads up properly, that you get quite a bit of dia just from playing. So you obviously get all the story dia, but then you get probably, let's see, you got 10, 20, 30... So you probably get 60 or 70 dia just from playing through the first few 100,000 points, and then at 240 there's a 15 dia. And then I think that might be the last big dia prize, but you probably get close to 100 dia just from completing, just going through the points. And then you get, as I said, 3 for every mission that you complete. So that's up to 90 if you actually get all of those secondary missions. Alright, so how do we end up getting these points and these lives? Well, we're going to play through this, and just a quick note, they have changed the way auto lives work. Before, if you just hit auto, it just ran automatically. Now you can change what you wanted to prioritize. So the first one will always pick the room with the most idols in it. Second one stays on whatever room you're in. Third one will always find the room of the idol that you choose and pick that one. So because I'm trying to get face crystals for Tetora so I can actually bloom his card, we're going to do that. Okay, so as you can see, we have 2 different kinds of lives. This is the same as the old game, I'm just kind of going over it in terms of how they help you with the tour event. So we've got hour-long lives and 2-hour-long lives, and then urgent lives. I don't know if I'm going to get an urgent live. If I do, great. If not, they always pop up after the first live is complete. They take more LP, but they give you more points. And they can also drop cards. Like last night, I think on Kuro's, the 3rd live that showed up, he dropped his 4-star. So that's why I switched to Adonis, because I now have Kuro's 4-star. I don't need to worry about getting him again. I will still get him through points, but either way, more copies is not a bad thing. Okay, so we've got this. So when you are going for the points reward, definitely prioritize the hour-long lives, because the ratio of LP spent to points gotten is a lot better. So if you prioritize the 2-hour lives, you'll basically get no points, but you will be able to progress through the tour faster. So that's why I recommend, if you're going for both of them, get the one from points first, and then points don't matter anymore. You can just play through any live that pops up and clear those out, and then that way, I think last time when I ended up with the 1.1 million points, I was just over 200 lives. So I ended up doing the two-hour long lives, and then halfway through the event there's another live that starts. So I did those as well, and that got me to the 300 lives pretty easily, and I think quicker and with less dia used than I would have had to have gotten the extra 150,000 points. Regardless, let's go through this. So we got the live, so that will add 1 to my live counter. And yeah, as you can see, you get your prizes. So the other advantage to playing the ones that give you more points is, of course, more prizes. But even if you only play the ones that give out less points but let you play through them a little bit quicker, you'll still probably get up to about 600,000 points, I would say. So you'll still be able to collect most of the early prizes, all of the dia, and probably copies of both of the 4-stars. So even if you're only going for one 5-star, you will end up with both of the 4-stars. So it is kind of nice that way. So I'm going to keep this going, see if I can get one of the other lives, and then do it just to compare. So that one, you know, when you max out the 2-hour lives, you get about 6,000 points per live. The 1-hour live. So here's a 2-hour live. So we'll do that. So you can see okay, so I only needed 1 LP to clear that, but I only got 66 points. But then we do get an urgent live. So urgent lives just pop up immediately after the results screen shows up for the original live. As you can see, these I think max out at, I don't know, usually it takes me about 9 LP to clear them when they get to level 15, but we're only level 10 now. So I'm going to use a couple of these little like spiky gummy candy things to fill up my LP so I can clear it. Alright, and if a 4-star happened to drop, it would be up in that little items bar, so that's what happened to me last night with Kuro. Alright, so that's basically how the courses work. One other thing you can do to maximize turning over your levels is, of course, there's the Magical Saturday or Sunday course. Where I live, it's on Saturday, but the Sunday course is a course that only shows up 1 day a week, costs 40 AP, gives you 800 experience every time you run through it. So people use that course for grinding a lot, because it's obviously, it gives you more experience for the LP or for the AP that you're using. Doing these little jobs also helps, so I always do the 8-hour ones. They're not quite as efficient, but that means I don't have to check it as often. So what that means is that every 8 hours I get 1200 free experience. You do use AP, but AP is pretty easy to come by and refreshes quickly, so normally you won't need to worry about running out of it. And that helps a lot in terms of leveling up, and of course every time you level up you get 10 LP back. So it's very worth doing. Said every 8 hours isn't a big time sink to change it or to remember, so definitely would recommend that too. And I think otherwise that covers essentially how the tour event works on Basic. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments, or ask me on Twitter if you want any other translations for the different missions, but otherwise I will meet you over on music in a couple seconds, so see you there. Alright, so we are on music, and I'll head into the tour event really quickly. So as you can see, the main screen basically looks the same. The only difference is that, of course, the point totals are vastly different, and the cards are actually switched. So if we take a look at this, on Basic, Ray had the higher requirement and Kato had the lower one. In this case, Ray is at 3 million points and Kato is at 3.5. So they do switch them around depending on what version you're playing. And again, same idea. If you're only going through the tour, pick the one you want. If you want to get both of them, pick the one that has the higher point requirement for the tour prize so that you don't need to get up to there in the other one. And I did have a commenter correct me on that because I had forgotten that in tour events the first 5-star is at a lower point requirement, 3 million versus 3.5, so it does help out a little bit at least in terms of saving some dia. But we'll head back into the tour. You can see I'm on day 5 here. So I would recommend, in terms of music, trying to play between 4 and 5 tour events a day. Events on music last 1 day shorter than they do on basic. So we only have, I think, 8 days and like 7 hours to complete them. I believe that's how it works. So as long as you're doing 4 to 5 a day, you will get there before the end and you won't need to worry about rushing at the last minute. So if we take a look at this, you see I'm on it says day 3, that's high score, never mind. I'm on day 5 right now, and we have 3 different missions to complete. So in order to get those 3 dia, you have to finish all 3 missions. And for this one, it's actually not quite as easy, because you need to get to a certain amount of points to get to the end of the tour, or a certain amount of these star missions cleared. So if you clear all of them, that's 90 stars. In order to get to the 5-star, you have to clear 77 of them. There are some at the end that are very hard to clear in terms of combos, score missions, things like that. They do stack. So like if you have one that says get a combined score of 8 million and you only end up with 6 million, the next time you go into play that particular day, your score will still be at your final total. So you only need another 2 million to actually clear it. They didn't explain that very well last time, but that is how it works as far as score missions and like combo missions go. Because there is one combo mission that's get 2,500 perfects, I think, or something like that. So that one you might have to go back in a second time and try it out. I think the way they set up the songs, it is doable, but it's not easily doable. Especially if you're not used to playing expert songs. So what we'll go over in music, because there is a little bit more to talk about, is what kind of missions there are, how to maximize point get, and what exactly all of these little things mean when you're getting the points. And I will probably have to play some music over this because I don't want to get copyrighted. Yeah, it is actually playing the song. I had to actually check my headphones there. So I'll probably just slap the the background music from the home screen over it. But in any case, what we want to look at here is, and I would play some songs, but OnStar's music has a very strict no MV unless it's from an official source rule, so I don't want to get in trouble and have this video taken down, so I'm not going to do that. So we're just going to look at it from this screen. So for this particular day, there's 3 different missions. And if we look at it, the first one says, set Koga as your performer for one of the songs and activate his ensemble time. So basically all that means is that, and I'll go into it. So when you get to this screen, you can see there's this little performer tab, the second one. You would put Koga in your team, put the little check mark underneath him once he was there, and then make sure you actually hit that big circle that comes through for the ensemble time so that it activates. That's all you have to do for those. Sometimes they get a little more particular. It'll say something like, set Koga, but it has to be the Koga card from this event. So again, double check on Twitter. I know that, again, there's a few Twitters that are posting all the missions, so search up those. If I can find them, I might throw them in the description, but otherwise they're pretty easy to find, and again, I'm here to answer questions if you need to. So that's the first one. Second one is one of the ones that everyone despises. It is complete a song with the score ending in the number 6. There is no skill involved in this, it is entirely luck. So what I would recommend for those ones is play on easy, look at what your max combo is, so in this case it's 164, and if you have a perfect or a full combo up until the end, you can miss about 10 notes before it will fail you. So if you're close to the end, you end up getting a 6, just stop playing and pray that it doesn't fail you. That's really the only way to do it. At least you have 4 chances. The one that's really difficult is the entire tour score ending in an odd or an even number, because if you don't end up getting it on the last song, you have to do the entire tour again. What you can also do, if you want to, is exit out of the song if you know before the end that you're not going to make it to that number that you want. You will lose the BP you made for that song, but you won't have to play 4 songs again to clear the day. So I think in the end that does save a little bit of time. And then the last one is just achieve a score of 100,000 somewhere within the range of playing these 4 songs. So, and that again will add up, so even if you only get like 50,000 on the first song, then you only need 50,000 on the second to get to that number. The first 20 or so days are definitely doable in terms of the score mission, and there will always be a score mission. It's a score mission and then 2 others. And in terms of the others, some of them are like achieve a perfect combo. There's, again, ones like setting a certain character as a performer. There's ones that say complete the song with the original lineup, and to do that, all you have to do is, I'm gonna go, that's my undead team already, but, so say I had this team. If you look at the top here, there's this little plus sign, and then hit the yellow button, it will autofill with the best cards that you have of that unit. As you can see, my undead team sucks badly right now, but hopefully that will change once I get a 5-star Ray in there. Anyway, so that's that one. Like I said, there's a whole bunch of different missions they throw at you. I said there's these weird score ones, combo bonuses, or combos, number of perfects I think is another one. So again, go through. If you have any questions, you can find it either on Twitter or ask me. I will try my best to help with that. But that's the general idea. So unlike in Basic, as I said before, you do need to focus on completing as many of these as you can, so that once you get to the end and some of them get harder, you don't have to worry about completing them. You'll still have enough by the time you get to day 30 to hit that 77-star threshold that you need to actually unlock it, I suppose is the best way of saying it. Alright, so that's the thing. I'm sorry I can't show you the tour page. I forgot you can't actually see it unless I cancel the tour, which I don't want to do because I got that that 6 score and I don't want to have to do that again. But what I do have are a few screenshots I took last night when I was experimenting with how point bonuses and things like that work, so I'll go through those to kind of tell you what I would recommend in terms of getting these cards, and that's not necessarily the best way. I'm not claiming to have all the answers, but it's a recommendation. So the last time I did the tour event, I actually got the 5-star without spending any dia at all. And how I did that was they do give you 3 whistles every day, so that's 3 BP. And if we take a look at our point bonuses, we'll go down here, you can see you do get a lot of whistles. You see you get 3, sometimes they give you 5 at a time, there's another 3, and then eventually there's more, there's 3, there's 5, there's 5, so you can see you get a lot of whistles just from playing through the first kind of million points. Megaphones fill up your entire BP bar, so megaphones give you back 10 BP, so those are really useful as well. There aren't very many of them, but they do show up occasionally. So there's one there, I think there's another one, yeah, one there at 2.5, one at 2.9, and that basically gets you to Ray. So if you're playing just the tour, always use 3 BP, which is the lowest amount of BP you can use for this kind of event. And as long as you're, again, I'm not saying wake up every 5 hours because I didn't do that last time, but as long as you're mostly staying on top of your BP, you will level up probably once every 2 days, and you will be able to get to day 30. I got there with like almost a full day to spare without spending a single dia on the event. So if you're just looking for one 5-star, that's all you have to do. And that gets you, in terms of points, about halfway to that 3 million. So logically, if you're going for the points copy of the 5-star that's at 3 million, it would probably be the easiest to use 6 BP. There is a disadvantage to that. I'll explain that once we get to the little screenshots that I have. But I'll go back into this again. So yeah, you can see you can choose either 3, 6, or 10. I wouldn't use 10 because there are efficiency losses in terms of experience points and things like that, but again, it's up to you. I would recommend staying with 6 if you're going to go for both of the 5-stars. And the main reason for that is because even playing at that, you're still playing 4 or 5 tour events a day. That's between 30 and 40 minutes of playing, which I know is a lot, especially people have lives, they have jobs, they have school, they have other mobile games that they want to play in. So 30 to 40 minutes a day is still a time sink, but it's the least of the time sinks that exist. Whereas if you were going for both copies of the 5-star and only played with the 3 BP, you would have to play over an hour a day, and that is a lot. So I'll explain why I think the 6 is the best right now, actually. So let's take a look at I'm just going to go back to the event page if it lets me. Okay, I'll let that run in the background just so I have the music I don't have to cover up. But we'll take a look at these screenshots. So the first one is playing a 3 BP song. So you see you get 200 experience from doing that. And then if you play the 3 BP song, you end up with 7,500 points is just the base total you get for playing any song. The score bonus depends on, obviously, your score. And it actually depends on your score number, not necessarily your score rank. So you have, rank C, B, A, S, SS, or S plus, or whatever they call it. So, like, the S rank lasts between, 700,000 points up to about 2 million points. Depending on where you land in there, you actually do get more or less points for that score bonus. Whether that's important to you or not, it does, obviously it adds up, but again, I'll show you what that means a little bit later. And then the red one is event skill bonus. So because I got 3 of the event cards, the 4-star where a single copy gets you a 5% bonus and 2 copies each of the 3 stars, so that's 2% each for those, I have a 9% score bonus. If you are lucky enough to get the 5-star, the 5-star by itself gives you a 20% bonus. If you are lucky enough to get 2 copies of the 5-star, that is an automatic 50% bonus. Again, I wouldn't recommend scouting for the 5-star specifically for this because you will spend more dia scouting than you will need to use for the event, but it helps save time, so it's something to think about. If you use 6 BP, take a look at this, you only get 300 experience for completing a song. Whereas if it doubles the way you think it should because you're spending twice the BP, you should get 400. So you're losing out on a little bit of experience using 6 BP, but you're saving a lot of time. And once you get up to the higher ranks, like even 50 doesn't seem like that higher rank, but in this game, it takes so long to level up that I don't see the extra 40 minutes a day of playing time as being a trade-off for this. I would rather spend 20 extra dia to fill up my BP than play for another hour a day. So that's me. If you want to do it the other way, keep doing 3 BP, you can totally do that. I'm just saying for people that want to save a little bit of time, that's what I would recommend. Because as you can see, the points actually don't matter. If you spend 6 BP, you get twice as many event points as if you had spent 3 BP. And your score bonus also gets doubled. So you can see in this case I had like a 500 and some score compared to the 489 I had the first time, so my score was a little bit better, I got a few more points. Which makes you think, is there an advantage to using these event cards compared to just using your most powerful team? Well, let's take a look at that. So here's one where I used my most powerful team. I got 1,000 points straight off the bat, ended up with 8,500 points for that song. If we remember back to the other screenshot, I ended up with, where is it now? I can't find it. 8,700 points even for using a weaker team that got me a much lower score bonus. In fact, a score bonus that wasn't even half of what the other one was. So if you have at least an 8 or 9% score bonus, I would recommend using that team instead of using your strongest team, because you do still get a few extra 100 points, and that does add up. And as you go through the event and can level up the cards and bloom them and do all that, they will end up getting your score a little bit closer. So the last thing I want to talk about is the 4th song in the rotation works a little bit differently. So the 4th song depends on something called your fever, and fever is combo dependent. So if you full combo all the songs, you will end up with 100% fever. If you perfect combo, you will get like an extra 2% for each one, so you can actually go over 100%, but the standard score for this song, the 4th song in the tour, is always 6,750 points. Score bonus is applied the same way. Event skill bonus is applied the same way. Fever then takes that total and multiplies it again. So you will get more points, even though the song itself is worth less, you will get more points because of that fever multiplier than you will for any other song. So if you were ever going to use the 10 BP, I would say only use it on the last song because the point gain is a lot more worth it. But again, you can see so we end up with about 16,000 points for doing a 3 BP song for the last one. And that's essentially how getting the points works. So score bonus has nothing to do with combo, Fever has nothing to do with score. They are completely independent of each other, but getting both of them to higher numbers will obviously get you more points in the end. There's one more thing I want to talk about before this is over, and that's another way to get a few extra precious bonus points, and that is using the work function. So the work function, I'm just going to do this one because I know I can clear it fairly easily at this point. You can see you have these work tickets. They replenish, I think, every 50 minutes or something like that for one ticket. And you can see you can set your BP to 0. So it won't steal any of your BP to use them, which is good, because they do give you event points, not nearly as much as playing songs, so I wouldn't recommend using that unless you really want to, but probably not during events. You can see I'll play through this really fast, or as fast as I can by the time they go through their little handshakes. But what it does is, besides letting you grind a little bit for materials and things like that in order to make these extremely cute little outfits that you can get. Mika is blushing and it's adorable. They also, and I'm sorry this is taking so long, there's literally no way to do this faster. I wish they had a skip or an auto button for these, but so far they don't. Alright, so job complete. You can see at the end, we get our little rewards, and then we get 20 experience, and we also get 250 points, which seems like nothing, but it adds up. So if you keep clearing your tickets, just like doing the jobs in the basic version, it will add up in the end, and you're not wasting BP. So you are literally getting points for doing essentially nothing in terms of taking away from your resources. Alright, so the one thing I haven't talked about yet, I'm just going to go back to the office so we can watch them wander around. Let's watch Aichi get scared by a frog because it's funny. But the one thing I haven't talked about yet is how much dia you might need if you're planning on going for both of the cards. So like I said, to get to the one on the tour, you won't need any. Otherwise, I would probably estimate, and I haven't actually tried this for tour events yet, but I would estimate somewhere between like 500 and 700, considering it is at a bit of a lower point total than the normal events. And normal events you need between like 600 and 800 at a minimum to try and get there. So I would say as long as you have 500 dia, you could probably, with what you get from the event and the story and everything, you would probably be able to manage it, again, as long as you're staying on top of your BP. And I think, I'm trying to remember, I think that's everything I wanted to go through, so I hope that helps a little bit. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask, either on YouTube. I know comments aren't the best way of doing it, or you can send a message to my Twitter, or send me a tweet on Twitter. I am at EndlessRondo there. I will also leave that in the description. Otherwise, I think that's basically all I wanted to go over, so I hope that helps. Good luck if you're going for these cards. They are gorgeous. I did end up translating or helping to translate the event, so I've got the prologue done, hoping to get it posted tonight. We'll see. It hurt my soul a little bit, but yeah, so that's, we've got little presents going on here. That's very cute. It was Hajime's birthday yesterday, so I kept his cake out there, and now they're doing their thing. But other than that, again, who knows when I'll be back with scouting, but I do hope that this was helpful, and I will see you next time. And if I think of anything I forgot, I'll try and add it in either like as an end title screen or an annotation or something, but otherwise I'll see you when I see you. So bye for now.